Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Your Majesty, though I may live anywhere and everywhere under your order, I shall but see you with bow and arrows wherever I look. Purport. The personality of Kali could see that Maharaj Parikshit was the emperor of all lands all over the world, and thus anywhere he might live, he would have to meet with the same mood of the king. The personality of Kali was meant for mischief, and Maharaj Parikshit was meant for subduing all kinds of mischief mongers, especially the personality of Kali. It was better, therefore, for the personality of Kali to have been killed by the king then and there, instead of being killed elsewhere. He was, after all, a surrendered soul before the king, and it was for the king to do what was required. Please recite with me. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sadevam Satvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitam Sta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpa Tarupyasta Kripa Sindhupya Evata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhaktavindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, thank you very much. So this is a very ecstatic morning here. You're really, this is Kirtan's taken away my worries. So thank you for that. I will be able to join you. So today we are reading from this verse 1:1736. So I would like to start first with a little quote from the meditation calendar. I thought this verse relates a little bit to the whole topic here. It says, a cheater is taking the place of a teacher. Therefore, the whole world is degraded. You can cheat others at I'm in a dress of a devotee. But what is your character? What is your actual value? That has to be judged. This is called bona fide teacher. Yes, in this word we come across Kali, who has definitely the quality of a cheater. And the question is, how do we build character? So I would like to introduce first the scene, how we have come here to this verse. So we do know, but I still repeat it for all of us. So Maharaj Parikshit, he's the emperor of the whole world. He's in the line of Maharaj Yudhisthira. He's a great devotee. He had so many wonderful qualifications. We have heard about chapters before, many qualifications of Maharaj Parikshit. And he was ruling the kingdom under the guidance of the twice initiated Brahmins, very nicely as a Kshatriya. So he set out to check his kingdom, if everything is in order. And on that way, he met the personification of Kali. The personification Kali, who is personification of irreligion. So there are two very opposing personalities who are meeting here. And Kali, he was beating the cow and the bull. That was the scene. And the cow is representing Dharma and religious principles, and the bull, both. So irreligion is beating Dharma and religious principles. So Kali, Maharaj Parikshit, as a royal representative, he knows his duties, and he is to protect the citizens from harm and also to punish and subdue the mischievous. So he exactly knew what to do in that situation, and he took up his sword immediately, and he was ready to kill Kali. So, yeah. So here we can see a signs of Kali Yuga. Because that Kali, he pretended to be a king. He pretended, with his royal clothes. He had the clothes of a king he was wearing. So he pretended to be a king. But his activities were very ferocious. He was beating the cow and the bull, Dharma and religious principles. So this is, if we see today in our society, this was 5,000 years ago, but here today as well, and this is a sign of Kali Yuga, we have heard in that chapter, that Shudra administrators will take the position of administration and will encourage and bring about animal slaughter, and also to bring about a lot of slaughterhouses. So and also these administrators, secondly, they will bring about the destruction of religious principles, the observance of religious principles, by actually encouraging the population to engage in illicit sex life, in gambling, in intoxication, taking intoxications, and also in meat eating. So these principles are signs of Kali Yuga. And this population becomes so uncultured and is facing a lot of problems in this world, which we know every day in the newspapers and wherever we hear. There are only problems. Social problems, economical problems, environmental problems, health-wise. Now it is said mental health is a very big problem for the society in general, and moral is completely degraded, ethical problems. So here, back to Kali and the scene. So when Kali realized that his predicament, because actually previously we heard, before we are reading this verse today, that Kali had surrendered, because he understood that Maharaj Parikshit is a very God-conscious personality, and he had no chance against him. And because of Kali, where there is no God consciousness, there is fear and anxiety. So he was in complete fear, and he thought he wanted just to spare his life. So to spare his life, he took the way of surrender, and he took off his royal clothes, he bowed down in front of the king, and he asked for his life. So now Maharaj Parikshit did not kill him immediately. He did not kill him. So then Kali, now here where we are today, he is understanding, okay, so my life was saved, was spared, but where will I actually really live? Because wherever I look, this kingdom of Maharaj Parikshit is spread all over the world. So I have no place where I can go with my nefarious nature. You know, by nature, I'm envious, I'm irreligion. So where can I find a place in that God-conscious kingdom here all over the world? So then he started to petition Maharaj Parikshit, and he started to say today, like, I shall see you with bow and arrows wherever I look. I shall see you with bow and arrow wherever I look. So this reminded me, like, first of a mother who will see the clothes and the hat or the shoes of her son, you know, and she will immediately remind it on her son. So in the same way, this Kali, he would be reminded on Parikshit Maharaj, very strong and powerful presence everywhere in that kingdom, and he would be restricted in his nefarious activities. Another thought came to me was, how would a pure devotee see this? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is omnipresent. It's a little, Prabhupada said this in chapter 13 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, text 10. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidura. So we can say maybe also manifested like Parikshit Maharaj, a devotee of the Lord. So just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. So Maharaj Parikshit, he was represented in this kingdom through the very strong working of his energies and potencies in form of the administrators, and government representatives who were ruling the earth by the very same religious principles like he himself. So that all was very frightening to Kali. And here we can understand that Kali is not of Kshatriya spirit, as he was pretending to be, because he did not face Maharaj Parikshit. He rather took the option to immediately save his life, by surrender, so-called by surrender. And we know that we know in general from the Mahabharata, for example, it said, a brave Kshatriya never flees the battlefield. Better to die in the battle than to run in fear. And also in Bhagavad Gita in 234, in the purport, Prabhupada describes how Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield, that will bring ill fame, and for a respectable man like yours, ill fame is worse than death. You should not flee or fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. So my question now here came up in this verse was, did Kali actually really surrender? Because in text 29, Srila Prabhupada described that he did fully surrender. But he was, when anyone is coming and just taking up clothes of a Vaishnava, for example, and takes a Kanti Mala, or some beads. You can see sometimes guests coming new and they would like to buy everything and be, but is that already really surrender, So here in that situation with Kali, maybe we can say he momentarily fully surrendered. Momentarily because he stopped beating the cow and the bull, and he took the humble position, or he took the subservient position. He bowed down. He asked for his life. So, but he was not really in the intention to stay in that full surrender, because otherwise, how would he come and say this now in his conversation to Maharaj Parikshit, expressing that he can't find a place to live because everywhere where you are, there I will see bow and arrows. So he had actually surrendered physically under force and fear, but he was not willing to accept a change of consciousness. The process of surrender entails not only outwardly changes, but most of all a change of the heart, a change of the consciousness, that we are happy and willing to accept authority, and we would like to accept their teachings, and we are embracing this in our hearts, and we are trying to fulfill them, so that which will change our behavior, our thoughts, our interactions with others, and in this way, that all makes up a surrender. So he maybe surrendered momentarily. So Parikshit Maharaj, he had, when he did surrender, he actually asked him to leave the country. So that reminded me on Kali, on a pastime in Vrindavan, where Krishna was dancing and subduing the snake Kaliya. So Kaliya, he had caused a lot of problems in Vrindavan and to the residents, including the animals and the inhabitants. And because he was so envious and so poisonous, it came even to death. But Krishna could revive the Gopas. And so Krishna performed a beautiful, absolutely beautiful, wonderful dance on the head of Kaliya and subdued her and sent her out. And sent her out of Vrindavan, together with wife and offspring and their wealth. So during that process of surrender, Kaliya, the snake, she prayed to Krishna. And in that prayer, she admitted that it was very difficult for him actually to give up his envious instincts or his envious nature, for they were natural to his snake-like body. So similar, if Kali's presence would be there, so Kali's presence would bring with him, or has brought with him, anyway, many unwanted influences. We often speak about greed, lust, anger, envy, pride, but they are also described here like falsehood, robbery, disrespect, rudeness, bad manners, impudence, treachery, disloyalty, duplicity, deceit, bad faith, backstabbing, double dealings, misfortune, cheating, quarrel, egoism, arrogance, self-love, self-admiration, and show. So these are quite a lot of negative attributes, and possibly we can find so much more. And so I did list them because somehow I felt like, my God, I'm not completely free of this all, yeah. This is Kali's influence here. Yeah, it comes along with him. So Prabhupada said a snake can be charmed by sound vibration, mantras and herbs, but the man envious cannot be. Therefore, he is more dangerous than the snake. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, Kali is meant for mischievous and Parikshit by nature to subdue the mischievous. So these are very two opposing natures here. And this explains from where the very everlasting conflict is coming between these two natures. So Kali's nature is of envy, demoniac, and irreligion personified. And Maharaj Parikshit's nature is of being a great devotee of Lord Krishna, worshipping and representing the Lord sent by sent. So naturally the question comes up, would it not have been better to kill Kali there and then? Isn't it? And Srila Prabhupada is discussing this here in this purport. So, because he is saying, it was better therefore for the personality of Kali to have been killed by the king then and there, instead of being killed elsewhere. So he deserved to be punished. And today we find death sentence. At least in my time, it was. I knew only in America there was death sentence, and it was really very much questioned and said, "Oh my God, what an inhuman act! How cruel can that be?" But here from the Vedic scriptures we learn that actually death sentence is not at all cruel or inappropriate or inhuman, but actually it gives the right appropriate punishment instantly for somebody who deserves to be punished like that. And it reduces also the karmic reactions of that person. Because this Kali, sooner or later, he would have been killed anyway, because he was not willing to give up his nefarious activities. So it was just a matter of time, So that's why the question is there, so why not right now, But then Prabhupada is saying straight after that, he was after all a surrendered soul before the king, and it was for the king to do what was required. So in my understanding, I could only see that what was his, as a king, he obliged the duty of a kshatriya. So, and we have heard about these kshatriya codes, that under certain circumstances we forgive and spare the life of an enemy. So here he had surrendered in front of Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj had forgiven and, spared his life. So we can also see, from the point of a devotee, being Maharaj Parikshit, a great devotee of the Lord, that he was actually quite, very compassionate upon Kali. And Kali, he had not taken the opportunity of receiving this prolonged life which he received, because he was not intending at all to stop his sinful activities or to become reformed. Because we know in the pastime Jagai and Madai, they were two very sinful and powerful personalities at that time, and they were terrorizing the area of Navadvip. But when they met Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they took full advantage of the mercy they received. And when their lives were spared, they accepted and embraced wholeheartedly the mercy bestowed upon them. And they became actually even great devotees of the Lord. So, but we can understand here that Kali is not of that caliber. And tomorrow we will hear even one more verse of him, what he is going to say further. So, by reading this chapter and meditating on this verse, and in all of our discussions here in the classes, then there were 2 points which came up to me. One is I felt very strongly that, so religion is actually something very important. And not only important, I thought before it was important, but now I understand it actually is something which belongs to human beings. So you cannot live, without religion. It's like the air you need to breathe. So it's not a question if maybe or not, or if you like or if you don't like, or if you believe or not believe. But human beings are human beings if they do practice religion and religious principles. Whatever variety of path of religion they are choosing, but every religion has with itself religious principles and worshipping God. So that is something which makes a human. And without accepting a religious path, you can't live a human life. So we know Prabhupada, when he came to the Western world, he said, I didn't come to convert people from one religion to another. Rather, he suggested all followers of different faiths of paths to simply add the chanting of the names of God to their regular basis of practice. And he said, and if you don't know the name of your God, then why don't you take Krishna? We know. Why don't you take and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Yes, from all these discussions here, I also understood that religion practice, it is actually religious practice which brings about austerity and sacrifices in our lives. And these type of austerities and sacrifices will bring progress in human life. That's why they are so important. They will bring progress materially and spiritually. So in the Bhagavad Gita 9:10, Krishna said, be thou happy by this yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So as we all know, in today's society, we find a very strong stream to belittle religion or to actually nullify it even. So Kali is really having his strong hands. And performance of austerity and sacrifices are encouraged today, but when only to again a material goal actually. When you will ask your children to study very hard to become a doctor, or if you, in any way, whatever material goal you want to achieve, just with the aim to live very comfortable, to have a very easy life, to bring sense enjoyment in your life, But there is no question of undergoing austerity with a spiritual goal. Yes. Okay, another point for me was when we discussed together what are actually the solutions to today's problems of life. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulanda, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. As we heard earlier, there are so many problems all over. And Srila Prabhupada, he asked us to practice the 4 regulative principles. But could he not have been happy with just asking us chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Because the Mahamantra is so powerful, he gives you everything. You simply chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But no, with every initiation, we have to vow that we will follow the 4 regulative principles. So we will abstain from meat eating, and it means in positive ways. So we will live a life of truthfulness, mercifulness, austerity, and cleanliness. And that is actually what humans are meant to do. So because of this lack of spiritual education and understanding, people today, they are so confused that they do not know even what to do with their time. You know, they do not know even what is the purpose of their life, how to go about it. But simply if they were trained already from childhood in accepting these regulative principles, cleanliness, austerity, truthfulness, and no illicit sex life, they would actually live a life towards improvement, you know, coming out from the mode of ignorance and passion, as we heard yesterday, to the mode of goodness, which brings improvement. And as a result, there would be the ability to comprehend actually spiritual education rather than degrading by indulging in these activities, you know, in this breaking of the 4 regulative principles. So, and we know once we have come to the mode of goodness, then we will build also very strong character. You know, with the mode of goodness, so many wonderful qualities come along, which are inherent in us, but they are cleansed and they come out, they shine out. And this character, this is actually real knowledge, Prabhupada said, you know, to have character. And that will withhold one from the influences of Kali Yoga around us, you know. So strong men of character and women are competent to get away from the clutches of Maya. So in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Krishna says, Devi esha gunamai, mama maya durataya. So this divine energy of mine is very, very difficult to overcome. And it consists of the 3 modes of material nature. So the Lord warns us, you know, that the deluding power is very strong, too strong actually. And then he says, Mam evaye prabhatyante mayam itam tarantite. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So, but here the point is to surrender, actually even to come to the point of surrender. In purport to text 24, Prabhupada explains that even that is not very easy. And such surrender is possible by persons of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So this is actually very important, you know, to make even the fertile ground of surrender. Of course, we do know now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, and he makes it even much more easy for us. But never, because of his mercy and the Mahamantra, he cleanses our heart. And he brings us to that surrender process. But nevertheless, it seems that we really have to work on these regulative principles. Otherwise, why would we have to vow them? And we can see here that Prabhupada describes irreligious acts as a disease of the mind, which can be cured by the proper medicine. And then he is saying, namely, advocating the principles of Brahminical culture, or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So it goes together. The Hare Krishna mantra and following these principles will cleanse the heart, you know, and will help us to come out from these impurities. So therewith it's quite clear then that educating people in the knowledge of Bhagavatam is actually really what we need to do, and what Prabhupada obviously did. He came to distribute the books in masses to people, and when as soon as somebody starts reading these books, and he becomes knowledgeable, and in this way he can accept these four regulative principles, or these regulation, and and then we can see our devotees. They are. It is hard to defeat them because they do follow the four regulative principles, and they do chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So this is like our vaccination against Kali. And so that brings us to acceptance of Brahminical lifestyle. Brahminical lifestyle means accepting austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, and specifically to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So in this age of Kali, it is very important to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and it will clean us and cure us from the mind, from the disease of irreligiosity. Because actually we have come here to this material world because we wanted to be separately from Krishna. So that means there is already traces of irreligion there, And so to get cured, we need remembrance of Krishna, devotional service, and to engage to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is. I would like to end here with a quote which we have heard, but it's so wonderful. So I will say it again, a verse. My dear King, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there's still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Yeah, so I would like to stop here. If anyone has some reflection or some question and answers, please. Hare Krishna. Maybe I'm giving today first to the ladies, and then we come to the proposal. Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for that amazing in-depth class. Thank you very much. I just have one question. You said, you gave a list of negative attributes, and I just wanted to understand this concept of self-love. I mean, we're every day in the morning we say, the desired success is Krishna Prema, love for Krishna. Now, how do you learn to love if you don't have it? So isn't a little bit of self-love required? I mean, you can't serve, if you're serving people, you need your plate full and then you can serve from there. So how is self-love a completely negative attribute? Because we need a little bit of love. We can't be totally harsh towards ourselves.
Okay, thank you. So you are understanding self-love as we can give only as much as we have received in life. Yeah, like this. Yeah, I think that is definitely true. And but I understand in this context here, when I was listing these qualities, that self-love is maybe, in my understanding, more connected to the bodily understanding of love. You love your body, you love your I, me, and mine, and then you are obviously very restricted in giving to others. You give something, but you're holding a lot back also. So so I see it more in that connection. I don't know if it makes sense. So then we had, who else had their hands up first? I didn't. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to. Thank you for the class, by the way. But I wanted to understand what the qualities were, and there was many qualities there.
Yeah.
Maybe you can quote the reference of where you found the qualities, or maybe.
We discussed them in the Srimad Bhagavatam a few verses ago.
Okay.
And then what I did actually, I just looked them up in the dictionary, because what it was, I couldn't, because English is not my language. So, for example, incivility, I looked up. And then I came out with disrespect, rudeness, bad manners, impudence. Or I looked up treachery. And then it came up disloyalty, duplicity, deceit, bad faith, backstabbing, double dealings. These are the meaning of these words. And then there was vanity. Vanity means egoism, arrogance, self-love, self-admiration, show. Like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mother.
This business of self-love is Prabhupada. He says, yes, we should love ourselves, but not in such a way it's me. We love ourselves in such a way that we're parts of Krishna. So we should always love every part of Krishna. And in that way, we serve every part of Krishna. So self-love means actually serving every part of Krishna, looking after ourselves in such a way that we can serve every part of Krishna, including the Supreme Lord himself in his full power. So it means actually serving. But you don't actually look for anything for yourself, because the pleasure gained in serving every part of Krishna abnegates or does away with our selfishness, because it's such a nice thing to do, is to serve others, because they're parts of Krishna. And it's in that way. But if you look fruitively at it, what am I getting? That's not serving. You're looking at me. But if you look at how to serve others, then if you have that mentality, then you won't worry about being served, because your satisfaction comes from service. It's nothing to do with loving me like you look in a mirror every day. Oh, you're so wonderful, you're such a nice person, you are this. All these self-affirmations which the New Agey people do. It's vanity, actually. It's still centered around us. So it should be centered around service of every part and parcel. And to serve every part and parcel, we have to look after ourselves in such a way for service sake.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the nice class. You were speaking about how Kali temporarily surrendered to Krishna.
Yes, I spoke about that, yeah.
And sorry, to Parikshit Maharaj, not to Krishna. But I was also thinking in our lives, often we do surrender to Krishna, but then it's temporary, and then we start making our own plans and things again. Is this like passionate, or how do we come to a state of...
I believe that properly we haven't reached the mode of goodness yet, isn't it? So, and which is also only a springboard to pure undiluted devotional service. But yes, that's for devotees, of course, as well. We are on the way to surrender fully, isn't it? But hopefully we are not falling so much back, that in the mode of ignorance. So we want to, at least passion maybe, and goodness, So, yeah. Yeah, but thank you, very nice point, yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. Just connected with what Sam Prabhu was just mentioning. I had drawn that parallel based on the same situation, that we temporarily surrender, we move to the temple, and then when we're in the temple, our anatas can't reside here. So they start to struggle. Just like he was saying, okay, I can't reside anywhere because I'll just see bows and arrows anywhere. So even after some point of staying in the temple, when we're starting to feel like our negative propensities come to our face, and we're looking at them head on, and we have to eradicate them somehow, So it's only if we stick in this kind of a space can they be successfully eradicated, and would probably be the ones to clear them. Yeah, like that.
If we stick to the Mahamantra, if we stick to Srimad Bhagavatam, to the association of devotees, to the practice, then they can be eradicated. Yeah. Thank you.
I also had a question related to this point, because you mentioned Kali temporarily fully surrender.
Yeah, because I cannot explain, because fully surrendered is written, Prabhupada has translated like this, is written in the Srimad Bhagavatam, text 29, fully surrendered.
Because, my understanding of fully surrender is we give everything that we have to give since ever and forever, so there's nothing else after that.
Yeah.
So
here some seniors can
So
explain
how can that
how
be
can
temporary?
You full surrender?
If you give everything, you have nothing else to give or to take.
Oh, like this you mean?
How can that be temporary?
Yeah, but he didn't give everything. You see, he only wanted to save his life. So that's why apparently he said, I give up right now. But in this conversation now, he's asking, where can I live? He's trying to persuade Maharaj Parikshit now to give him a place where he can live with my nefarious nature. I don't want to give up my bad nature. Surrender usually means if I come to Krishna consciousness, I need to give up my bad qualities. Otherwise I can't make progress. So, and he is not willing to do that. That's what I meant, sorry. Yeah, as Srinivas Prabhu is in the back, and then we have to come to an end, actually. Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking Kali surrendered to save his own life.
Yeah.
So in the same way, Karna, he was fighting Narayana and Rishi, for 1,000 years. He was a demon in previous life, Karna. As with a demon with 1,000 arms. And because he couldn't defeat Narayan, then he took shelter of the Surya Dev. And when you surrender to someone, the Kshatriya has to give you protection.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Same way,
yeah,
right?
So same way. Okay.
And then after that, when Kunti Devi prayed to the sun god, then Karna took birth. Then Krishna punished Karna in his own way.
Okay.
So same thing with Kali also gets punished in different ways. Krishna's got his way of punishing every living entity. If you look in Mahabharata, there's a story of this Nala and Damayanti. It's there in Mahabharata how at some point Kali gets punished. He gets for doing harm to Nala. So Krishna's got his way of rectifying every living entity.
Right, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that contribution. It's still not completely clear in my mind, but thank you for. I'm hearing twice the second time of you, but it doesn't sink in completely. Sorry. Yeah, but thank you. Yes, how we are doing? One more question. Okay, the last one then maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji, for your class and taking my question. So in the Mahabharata, we see Bhishma incurred some negative reaction for following Dharma at the sake of the higher principle. So similarly, did Parikshit Maharaj incur any negative reaction for not following the higher principle and following Dharma by not killing someone who surrendered to him? Because Kali didn't sincerely surrender because he wasn't going to stop acting in a demoniac way. So
yeah, he stopped acting.
The higher principle, I guess, would have been to kill him. So did he incur any negative karma for that, or any reaction?
If Maharaj Parikshit got any
because
karma?
he followed Dharma of a Kshatriya by not killing him, right?
Yeah.
But was the higher principle to kill him? And should he have done it? And did he incur any karma?
I mean, Prabhupada in this purport, he's saying first, it was better therefore for the personality of Kali to have been killed by the king there and then instead of king elsewhere. But then he said he was after all a surrendered soul before the king, and it was for the king to do what was required. So it seems to be that, in Prabhupada discussing here, that was the right thing to do. At this point, at least, he's discussing like this. So, yeah, I mean, your question is maybe still there, but that's how Prabhupada answered here. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you very much, devotee.